Morning guys and gals, Froggy here. Today I'm going to show you how to install this kit. This is to insulate your tunnel so that it doesn't get so hot on the console up inside the car. And I'm going to put it on my z06 Corvette right there. First thing you have to do is jack it up as high as you can jack it up. The higher you can jack it up, the easier it's going to be. And we don't have a lift here, but we do have some. Those are SUV jacks that I used in the front. I got the back up first with like a regular jack, so I could get under the front with the SUV jacks. They're not really low lift jacks, and we're going to use those. And I've got jack stands too. I always use jack stands. Okay, let's look at the kit. Comes boxed up like this. The main piece that goes right in the center and some side pieces. And they give you a roller. That's pretty nice. And tunnel shield plate. Oh, focus. Tunnel shield plate, side shields, roller, instructions. You're gonna need some cleaner and degreaser, rags, towels. You gotta remove your midpipe. Okay? Glasses, gloves. Alright, let's go. Yeah, Froggy has air tools, but you do not need air tools to do this job. But if you're going to do a lot of work on your vehicle, you should get them sooner or later. These big wide clamps in the back. The clamps on mine are welded to the midpipe, so they're going to stay with the midpipe so far. We got some spring hangers here. We'll get those off. Froggy has a finished floor, so I usually just throw a blanket down. And that little thing there is like an exercise block. And I can slide around under there and rest my head when I need to rest my head. If you don't have a finished floor, they do have some other slider things for working under vehicles. I'll put a link in the description area so you can see one that I thought looked pretty good. So this is a 2013, so I've got two extra cats on the midpipe and then the two big cats up closer to the engine. So we're going to disconnect it right here, so those little cats will go with the midpipe. And I hope once I loosen this up, I can get enough space to drop it out. But I'm going to have to unsleeve it. You know what I mean? There's like it's like a sleeve that fits together where those big band type clamps are. Okay, so let's get these undone. I did put some anti-rust penetrating, loosening liquid on here, and I'll put that down in the details. The details are when you don't make the video full screen, you make it like a small screen, and then it shows up some details. You're going to notice some other pieces here that I've already previously installed. Look at the videos that I've put up on YouTube. That's a catalytic converter insulation from DEI. And let's see, there's a starter cover there from DEI and this pipe insulating tape. So check their stuff out. Everything I put on from DEI has been first rate. So let's see if we get lucky here. I got them all off. Everything's loose. You put my gloves on and start wiggling and shoving and pushing on this thing to see if I get it out. Well, I'll tell you what, guys and gals, here's a little Froggy tip. I had this side wrapped, and it was holding this clamp, this piece here, collar, I guess you'd call it a collar. It was holding it from going forward enough to clear these studs. So I hammered on it a little bit with a little hammer, And when I got it forward, this whole thing fell down on me. So, try to get a little focus. Oh, I can't. I don't think I can focus that close. Anyway, it's right in my face. So it's loose on this end. Now I think I'm just maybe going to wiggle it left and right to get it out of those clamps on the other end. I need two hands though. So I'll be back. Just noticed on my mid-pipe, they wrote ZR1 on this mid-pipe. So I guess on the 2013 Z06s, they put the ZR1 mid-pipe, which has a nice kind of a more of a flow to the connection instead of that straight across pipe. Anyway, just a little tidbit of information. I'm going to put some more penetrating oil all over these slide on, slide off parts here before I even try to separate them. Look in the detail, I'll show you what I use. Alright, I just took a little break, had some lunch. Pay attention now. This is why you come to Froggy's garage for your information. I got the mid-pipe out and I watched, well, first of all, I'll tell you the truth. I went and watched a bunch of other videos on YouTube about how different guys get H-pipes off, mid-pipes off. And then I put on my thinking cap and I thought about it myself. The problem was that this end down here was lower than the other end, so there's an angle on it, and the angle was tightening up that connection where those wide bands are back there. All right? So I was hammering on them with a pretty good-sized hammer and with a little piece of solid pipe that I had machined the end of the solid pipe so I wouldn't damage anything. I was just hammering around the little edges where they came together, and it wasn't going anywhere. So the first thing you want to do when something's not working is stop and think about it. So I stopped and I thought about it and I looked at some videos and then I came back here. What I did was I moved my box that was holding up this end of the exhaust. I moved it to the other end so that when it came apart, it would drop down on it, right? Obviously, that's what you want to do. You don't want to let it fall all the way down. Then I came up to the front end where the small cats are. I showed you about those. And I just went up and down, about an inch or 2 inches, inch, 2 inch, a little bit side, up and down, side. And all the while I'm pulling towards the front of the car, okay? The mufflers are still there. I didn't do anything to the mufflers. They're still on their hangers. They're still there. So they're providing resistance on that end, and I'm pulling on this end and wiggling. And there it is. It's right sitting on my chest right now. But I just wanted to give this to you, what do they call it? Point of view. Here it is. That's how you do it, okay? Let's get this thing out from under the car, and then we can start installing that beautiful stuff from DEI. Keep the inside of the car cool, for goodness sake. So there it is down. I'm just going to leave it there because it's going to go right back up. And now we've got all kinds of space to put our new shiny parts in. Okay, well, I just got off the phone with technical support at DEI and wanted to get a little detail and suggestion. I'm going to use acetone to clean up the area where these heat shields are going to be applied. You could use brake cleaner fluid, brake cleaner fluid if you have that, or you could use denatured alcohol. Just make sure you don't leave any residue. You want to be right down to the metal. Okay, so I'm going to go clean this up. I'll show you a little picture of it, but not really the whole thing of cleaning it. Okay, so I got some microfiber rags and my acetone, and I'm just going to wet the rags, and I'm going to go, clean it with one rag, and then I'll wipe it with a second clean rag. And you want to make sure there's no residue left on there. Some cleaner might leave a little residue, so you don't want any of that. You want just bare metal here, bare metal, okay? All right, I could not show you me putting it on because it's a two-hand job. But basically, you want to peel a little bit of the backing off and get it started up here at the front. And then you're kind of reaching on the other side of this, and you keep peeling the backing, peeling and placing, peeling and placing and peeling and placing. And you want to get it right the first time. I'm not sure you can pull this adhesive off and restart it, so you don't want to have to do that. Now, one thing that differs a little bit from the instructions, the instructions said it starts, this cover starts at the second bolt back, and mine started right at the first bolt back. It goes all the way to the front, all the way to the back. So that must have some difference between model years or something like that. And now I'm going to press down hard with the roller. Here's the roller. I'm not going to show you me rolling the whole thing, but I'm going to press the whole thing down hard with the roller and take a socket, and I'm just going to tap around the socket, tap it around each one of these bolts. That way, especially this part here, gets set really good before the first heat cycle. I'm thinking maybe the heat cycle really turns this adhesive into something very permanent. That might be, but you'd have to ask DEI about that. Okay, so I'm going to roll it, and then I'm going to use the socket. I'll show you the socket. Okay, there it is finished. And just took a socket like that. Yeah, like that, and tapped on it to make sure we have good adhesion all the way around there. Side shields will go like this. The shorter ones are towards the front, and then the longer ones are towards the back. On the front ones, there's a little cut to make it easy to go around the corner, and it's wider on the back of it and a little narrower on the front towards the cats. So you want to mold this in as much as you can, get it to shape before you start pulling the backing off. You're forming it to the curve at the top mainly. One thing I would suggest, make sure your bottom edge is even with the aluminum piece, the OEM piece. You don't want this sticking down because the glue will probably attract a lot of dirt. So make sure you push it up high so that, see the bottom, so they're even. I would start at the front, I guess. I don't think it matters too much. Start peeling the backing off and start shaping it for your final shaping. So, all right, there's both sides, the front part of the sides, all molded in, stuck in. And I'm going to do the back part, but I'm going to do that. Okay, guys and gals, my battery went dead on my my phone camera, but what I was saying there is I'm knocking off for the day. Anyway, this is what is this, Tuesday, and let's get this thing finished off. Here's a little tidbit here. This is the competition that I do, and that's a flyer for one of the events coming up. Just thought somebody might be interested in that. Anyway, this is the very end of the tunnel, the vertical pieces, not the horizontal piece. And I'm going to just roll it out. I'm going to take the little folds out of it. That's just for shipping. So just take your roller, roll them out. Yeah, I'm doing this one-handed, but you know what I mean. Here's what I think is intended for the back pieces. There's a little curvy part there, and the back of the frame, I guess this is part of the frame, has a curve, and up in the front you just tuck it underneath that front piece. Alright, so that's how I'm going to do it. What I am going to do is I'm going to shove it up as tight as I can to this other piece so that heat doesn't, you know, if I put it down low, then there's a little strip there where heat could, from the pipe, you know. Remember, where my camera is right now is 2 hot 3-inch exhaust pipes, and I mean hot. So shove it up like that. I think that would be the best way to do it. Okay, I'm going to need 2 hands, and it's the same thing. I am going to start from the front, I think. Yeah, because if I start from the back, I think it'll be more difficult to finish it off, tucking it underneath. So I will start from the front and finish at the back. And I'm going to need 2 hands. What I was going to say is you peel peel a little bit of this plastic backing off at a time. Just peel off like 1 inch or to 2 inches, and then as you mold it in with your fingers, peel a little more, peel a little more, peel a little more. Okay? That's how you do it. Well, there it is. That's pretty easy. That's the easiest one so far. Okay, this is the passenger side. Lay it up there before you start peeling off that backing. Trust Froggy on this. You don't want to peel that backing until you're ready to pull the trigger and get it in there. Alright, so I molded it a little bit over there. I'm going to wrap the tail end around right there, like that. Okay? And Froggy's trying to get an angle here under the car where I can show you the finished installation. So I got my head underneath the transmission, as you may have figured out. So check this out. I'll tell you what, this product looks so nice. I'm going to want to take the midpipe out and clean it once in a while. Look at that. Look at how nice. Wow. All right. Well, there you go. I am not going to shoot too much of putting it all back together. If I come across a little tip, then I will shoot that. Otherwise, put your midpipe back in and enjoy the cool interior of your Corvette. Okay? See ya. Well, right away I can see what the challenge is going to be on this, because the mufflers are just hanging from the rubber mounts, and I'm just one person, and I'm going to be on the other end of about a 6-foot pipe, so I'm going to have to get lucky to get these to get started on there on the right angle. They're somewhat held in position, but they're not tightly held in position, which would be better. Wish me luck. So, change of plan. Here's how you're going to do it. Froggy put the box on the front, and I put enough shim, that blue thing I'm calling it a shim, a spacer, an elevating device, whatever you want to call it, so that it was just below the exhaust pipes that it's going to want to connect up to, right? Because it's, as it sits, it's too long, it'll hit up against them, so you have to go below them to get it started. And then on this end, focus please, on this end, you need your hands on this end to line it up, because these are kind of loose, and you need to do one at a time. You get one a little bit, then you get the other one a little bit. Right now I've got about a 1/4 inch that's caught, if you want to say caught, on each end. Alright, so now I'm going to just wiggle it left and right, basically, from not up and down, left and right, and it'll go onto there. And I'll probably use one hand to push and one hand to pull on this end, or push them on both ends, whatever you want to call it. And till I get them about 1 inch in, and you can see where I have to get up to right there. Not up to that, that'll be too far. They've got a little bit of a stop thing there. That'll be too far, because it does have to bolt up on the other end. So I gotta bolt up the other end before I tighten this up, right? Obviously, think about it. Okay, so let me get back to work. Okay, here's how it's going down. I'm tightening up the back ones, not quite all the way yet, and you can see where they are in relationship to the dimple. Now I'm going front. Okay, so you can see how far I've got them on there. I am actually going to tighten these up before I do the front, and not final tightening, but I'll tell you why. Because I think they'll pull the mufflers forward as I tighten up on the front, and that may actually be a good place for them to sit at. That might be why they put those little dimples there. All right, so let me find the nuts that go on these and tighten them up a little bit. There, you can see how it's lined up in the front. So I'm just going to have to use, I'll lift it up off of my box that I've got it propped up on. I really need to get one of those. They have a real thing for working under a car and lifting up pieces. I need to buy a couple of those, or maybe somebody will sponsor me and give me some to demonstrate. Anyway, lift it up, slide those studs through, tighten it up, and then I'll recheck the back and recheck how the mufflers look, and it'll be done. Okay, that wasn't so bad. And once I get these started, I am going to loosen up the back part of it a little bit, because I don't want to be dragging the whole exhaust system forward and maybe putting the mufflers in a place where they shouldn't be. Because, as you may recall, originally the sleeve wasn't overlapping that far on the back. So I'm going to be a little bit careful. Well, I went back and checked the clearance on the mufflers, and they were fine. So I pulled them all the way overlapping up to the dimple, or within an eighth of an inch or so of the dimple, because I think that's what that's there for. I think that's where they were supposed to be originally, and somebody who was putting together the car on the assembly line didn't quite get them shoved in far enough, so they called it good. But anyway, that's where I put them, and if I need to shift them a little bit, I can always do that. It's no biggie. So I'm going to sock these up tight, and we will be done.